All right, well, happy holidays, first of all. Today is Thanksgiving. I am currently doing the same as always, working on my computer. I did go home last week, so I did meet the requirement of, seeing family. That was kind of on me. I booked my flight actually for the wrong week. I wasn't looking very carefully at when Thanksgiving was, and it was actually pretty nice though, worked out well. Being able to go home a week early, because my family doesn't do a lot anymore for Thanksgiving. Just being able to connect at a time where you don't have all the holiday craziness going on, and actually, I have some dedicated time right now when it feels like everything's slowed down where I can just work. I know there's a lot coming up this weekend, and as we're starting to wind up the rest of the year, it's gonna get a little bit crazy, I think, in everyone's life. There's a lot going on in the world recently, politics, news, things like that, but overall, I'd say 2024 wasn't the worst year ever. I have a couple things to reflect on though. A lot of things have changed for me in the past year as it is, and I know we still have a month to go, but I'd like to start kind of wrapping up where we are. First, I graduated the academy, one of the hardest institutions I would say to attend in the country. I sold Daredevil, or the majority share of Daredevil, and kind of provided myself an exit in that business. I then transitioned into digital marketing and real estate wholesaling, which I currently do now, if you guys aren't familiar from my other videos. I've continued to grow the YouTube channel, which I was semi-taking seriously over the last year and a half, but now I'm really doing full-time. And finally, I'm just learning as much as I can every day and making that a good habit. They say the term happy holidays, but to be honest, I don't really like happiness. Or I don't like the standard definition of it, right? You think happiness is necessarily just having to be with your family and friends all the time. To be honest, happiness is whatever you decide it to be. I found happiness in so many weird, difficult spots in my life that it's kind of hard to categorize. I remember basic training, going through basic. I would find moments of happiness when somebody, cracked a quick joke when, the trainers weren't looking and we all smiled for a minute. I also found happiness, with people that I've dated and experiences I've gotten to have with them. It's so hard to put a label on what happiness is. So I would actually categorize it by what it isn't. I would say a lot of times, happiness doesn't have to be forced. I hear too many people talking about, well, one day I want to be happy. I want to get out of this rut that I'm in. But a lot of times looking back, that's where I felt true happiness. I'm really glad that I was, provided that situation. And sometimes it's the situations when I'm honestly in the most pain or struggle, because perspective is a key part in establishing your happiness. For example, I did not like sitting down every week to record YouTube videos for the last almost 2 years now. I initially liked it when I started, but then about a month or two in, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. I'm not seeing any progress here. This sucks. But now I've kind of given myself a second win by forgetting about why I needed to get successful in the first part. I was initially doing it so I could grow an audience, right? So I could amass followers and subscribers on YouTube, but I don't care about that anymore. In fact, something you guys may not know about my channel is pretty much every video I put out, I'm putting it out for myself. Every short I make or every YouTube video is a powerful lesson I learned that week that I want to categorize in my history. A lot of the video ideas I have are inspired by recent events that I'm really just reflecting on and categorizing into lessons that I'm teaching you. So you're kind of witnessing me grow in real time as I document these different events. They might not be, the actual event that happened, but they're a reflection that reminded me of why I was going through that struggle in the moment. And so it takes a lot of deep thought and struggle to be able to learn as much as I think I've learned very recently. But I don't think I would go for the classic definition of happiness. The person in the Coke commercial holding the bottle and smiling with their family around them. That's not really what I would see it as. I'm not with my family this holiday, and I'm still happy. I'm happy because I have the computer here in front of me. Let me actually close out of some of these tabs. I have the computer in front of me, and I'm doing what I love, which is creating content for you guys, working on my dream, something that I never lose hope in, reminding myself of how grateful I am to be in this setting. I have my own apartment. I have a full-time job. I still work with the military. I get, my bills paid. I'm lucky to be here, right? To have the opportunity to even make content and be in this situation in my life that I've worked my ass off for the last 5 to 8 years, I would say, to be in. It's not very easy to get started. In fact, a lot of times it takes that brief, spark of inspiration to even open the computer and start on your next big idea. I found that so many times, like in high school and middle school. I remember my first business, right, was not even online itself. I was selling fidget spinners out of a locker. That was probably one of my first big businesses that I started on my own, except for working a job. In high school, that was the big trend. Everyone was like buying these fidget spinner things, and I realized that I could sell them for like $10 a piece at my school, and I would buy them for like $4 in bulk, and I made a ton of money doing that. That kind of sparked my initial approach to how can I do this at a larger scale, which led me into e-commerce. Led me into probably a couple businesses. I remember one was called Alpha Footwear, and I didn't even spell it right. It was like W-A-R-E, like warehouse, because I didn't even know how to spell footwear. I was rushing so fast into it, I thought I could just make money so easily doing it. My buddies and I, we did like the shirt printing. We would printed a logo on the shirt, and I remember wearing it to class one day, thinking I was like the shit because I could print my own shirt, and everyone was like, what the hell is that? It was like this like cheap ass cotton Gildan shirt that I just printed a logo on, but to me, I was the king of the world because that was my business. And we didn't really, sell much on that site, I would say, but it taught me the fundamentals of how to conduct a business. It taught me that I have to make a product, I have to actually put time into a product, and I have to care about what the image of that product is. And then eventually that led me into different e-commerce businesses, and then I made a few bucks drop shipping here and there on different ideas and kind of niche products over the next couple of years. But with Daredevil, that was the big first success I would say I had consistently. Being able to make partnerships with gyms, influencers across the country, and just find people that really liked what I had to say and what my product stood for and giving me advice. And I really started to learn from that feedback. I would say those are the moments that make me happiest in what I do. Being able to look back and say that I actually cared enough to make consistent progress. I would say that momentous step, going up the staircase one step at a time, when you can feel yourself escalating and inclining to the next level, I think that's what gives me the feeling of happiness. It doesn't even actually have to be the step either. It can just be the excitement for the next step, feeling that I'm moving upward. It's not necessarily that money, seeing that in the account that gives you the happiness. It's the excitement for what that can mean in your life. That money just bought yourself rent for 6 months so you can live where you want, or food on the table for, a year or so. Whatever it is where you don't have to work. And I think the lack of having to work is what you're excited for. But the people that are even more hard about their craft, what they do is they don't even care about that because they're just excited to be able to provide in general. I think that's the biggest mindset shift that I've had that I would encourage you guys to copy after. Don't change your mind to, value having your bills paid as necessarily being happy, but I would say that's a good first step. I would just say look at happiness as being able to provide as much as possible. That doesn't have to just be money. It can be emotions, it can be impact, it can be substance, whatever you want to label it as. I would say a farmer growing his own crops has the same satisfaction as somebody that, made money on the stock market because they both provided something to the world that wasn't really there for themselves before. I would say as a man, it's very important to understand what you're providing into the world. And I think a lot of business owners that I've met and talked to that have gone on to be successful or not have understood that principle very well. At the end of the day, you can be replaced if what you're doing is replaceable. Is what you're doing unique enough to the world where nobody else can copy your skills and you can continuously provide value and sustenance into the world. Success is being able to bring something into the world that wasn't there before. And money is the easiest to quantify because we all understand the value of it. So I would say no matter what you do, being happy is just the pursuit of happiness. Does that make sense? If you can make your definition of happiness chasing success, aka the happy ending, then I think that's the real happiness. You're placing your objectives in the wrong spot. You're saying I have to have the dream car, I have to have the dream girl, but you're putting these things on a pedestal. Those are just symptoms of what your actual happiness is. Your happiness is the moments that you get to sit in front of the computer and feel blessed that you're in the opportunity to even go out and try to provide. Too many of you have a broken mindset and think you don't need to provide value to the world, but the honest truth is people aren't going to respect you and they aren't going to value your time and presence if you aren't actively on the pursuit of something. You need to find a craft that you believe is going to make your greatest impact on this world. To be honest, a YouTuber and a garbage man can provide the same impact on the world. In fact, a lot of times it's way easier for a garbage man to make an impact than a YouTuber because you can directly see what they're doing. A YouTuber is at a much higher level if they're in an industry like mine because the impact comes over time as you develop yourself. So I would say that's one of the big takeaways of this. It's not the pursuit of happiness, It's happiness of the pursuit. What are you chasing in your life right now? I know what I'm going out to do, and I know exactly what the plan is. In fact, this is a printed out, copy of a tree diagram of how my social network structure and my businesses are going to align to cycle in and make me money. I have that planned out. I can visually see what I'm going to do. But I would say a good step to start feeling happier and feeling like you're on that pursuit is figure out where you're going. How many times have you gone out for a drive and you're just looking for somewhere to eat and you feel like you're just wasting time or driving around because you didn't actually know where you were going? Because you might feel like you're on the right path, right? But if you never actually knew from the start, as soon as you make a mistake on that path, you're gonna say, well, I just wasted my time in this entire industry. Versus if your goal going in was, I'm gonna try e-commerce for 6 months, and if it doesn't work out, that's fine because I'm gonna provide myself this time to learn as much as possible. And then at the 6-month point, I'm gonna pivot. Versus saying, well, I don't know, e-commerce seems like the best way to go, I'll just give it a shot. Then you just put yourself in a toxic headspace for no reason. Redefining what happiness is to you is a critical aspect that I think everybody has to go through. That's why you can ask a lot of billionaires like how happy they feel. And they probably feel just as much happiness being a billionaire as they did when they had $1 million or $100,000. As you achieve bigger and bigger things, your brain gets more used to it essentially. And you have to kind of chase that next high. But at some point you realize that the chase isn't about the outcome, it's about the chase. You want to chase to be a chaser. I think with women too, I've noticed kind of a similar thing. People I've dated and when I've had the best relationships in my life, this probably goes for, I would say, women too. It's just in slightly different categories, but women have respected me the most, which I think is the most valuable trait for a man in a relationship. When I've been able to tell them no at certain times when I've had to accomplish certain tasks. It was the times when I gave in and said, well, I'll sit on the couch with you, I'll walk around town with you, and we'll go out to the bar tonight, that I didn't have the best relationships. And a lot of times you think, well, if I dedicate myself to this journey, I'm going to give up all the relationship happiness I've had in my life, and I have to cut these people off. You don't necessarily need to cut people out of your life to be happy or be on this pursuit that we've defined as happiness. People can help you actually get there. They just need to understand what your mission is. And to be honest, reflecting on this, I've cut good people out of my life without meaning to that actually probably could have stayed with me. You think you have to be in this, dark era or this winter arc to be able to be successful. Who do you have in your life that encourages you to get back to work, that encourages you to become the best version of yourself? And who doesn't? It can be hard. And while I said it's good to be able to tell people no sometimes and put limits on yourself, you don't want to be toxic and cut people out completely. It really is one of the most fine balances you'll have in your life. But yes, you can date and also be successful. A lot of times it's even better because that way you already have the partnership thing figured out. They can just help you build, and you don't have to worry about them being a gold digger at the end of the day. That's probably the only way to know that your partner is not a gold digger if you're that successful. But relationships aside, this is what I want you to focus on. The next thing you're working on, stop defining your goals probably the way you are. You're probably thinking about getting to 5 or 10,000 subscribers or followers like I've thought about on my YouTube at points. And instead, focus on the results of what you're making. Happiness, and I guarantee if you think about it this way, you'll start to realize why I'm right. Happiness is the moments when you don't see the subscribers come in, but when you sit back, I watched the video of myself that we had edited, and I'm like, damn, I did a great job producing that. I'm proud of myself for coming up with that idea, that concept, and bringing it into reality. From taking it just from a mental seed to actually seeing it on the screen. That was something I did. That video wouldn't have existed and you guys wouldn't have seen it if I didn't sit down, turn the blinds down, put the camera up and record that to make that shit a reality. The back end stuff, the views and the subscribers, that's all secondary. And so the more I can go and say I'm proud of myself for recording those videos, the money will follow it because I stopped doing it for the money. There's a principle I want to tell you about. And it's kind of similar to why I brought up dating in the first place. A lot of times, right, there's this kind of like game that goes on in dating. You have to kind of act nonchalant to be able to attract people or act like, you don't care about something for it to come into your life. When in reality, you're probably thinking it's the most important thing I've ever wanted. Why would I act like that? I've done that having to do sales too. Talking to people in real estate is somewhat difficult for that reason. I'm really chasing down a $10,000 assignment on this contract. But in order to get that deal secured, I have to, really push this person to get the signature. And so when I'm talking to the seller, there's a lot of pressure in my head to find a way to get this sale to a conclusion. But the more I let that show on the call, the less the seller is going to be interested in talking to me because they can feel my desperation, right? If you go up to someone and try to persuade them to go out with you, you're probably going to have a difficult time if you're acting way too eager or way too anxious to try to get a yes out of them. It's the same way with the things you want in life. The money is a focus. I know it is, right? We all want more money. But here's what I'll tell you. The less you focus on it, the easier it's actually going to end up coming to you. You know, the richest people I know are even the most nonchalant. They'll wear a t-shirt and jeans and won't even talk about how they got 8 figures in the bank. Because to them, money doesn't even matter anymore. They don't think about it. They're thinking about what projects are going to be able to provide the most value into the world. And a lot of times, as long as the market's acting the way it will, money will follow that. So that's why with the agency, right, I'm going out and I'm thinking, how can I actually increase the amount of traffic this business is getting? Because a lot of times money's going to follow that, and it's going to follow back to me as well. So this is where I'm going with all of this. Money is first, but also should be treated like it's second. Money provides the opportunities, provides better connections, it provides better lifestyle and peace of mind. Money follows great ideas, great projects, innovation, and great networking and connections. The soft skills, the people skills, the ability to persuade and connect with others, that has to come first. And when you start doing that with the right people and you start chasing that grind and being consistent, all of a sudden your bank will start to go up and up. So as much as you feel like you may be behind in life and you have to make it tomorrow, here's what I will say. Money will be the indicator of the level of your success as a person, not the goal. So make more powerful connections with people. Make better videos. Make better content. Sell yourself better. And the money will be an indicator of that. Don't be focused on the physical paper or the bank account. Be focused on your actions, because it could take you 20 years to actually make the money you've wanted. But as long as you've enjoyed yourself in that process, that 20 year of suck made all the result after that fact worth it. And that's why the billionaires that are 55 or 60 years old don't hate the early ages. They appreciate them. Stop being so hard on yourself. It's the holiday season. Have a little cheer. Make your cup of hot chocolate. Put the marshmallows in it. And spend time with the people that you enjoy. I know you have to be alone. I know it's the winter arc and you're rising through the shadows or whatever. But at the same time, be the best you can. So when you have this opportunity to connect with the people you love the most over the next few weeks, really think about who is actually adding the most impact on your life. And really start to invest in them. But the most important person you'll invest in will be, well, yourself. And on this day of thankfulness, I'm very thankful to have all of you. Thank you for watching my content. If you made it this far in the video, I would appreciate it if you could leave a like and subscribe. Hopefully that's not much to ask for, but it does mean a lot for my journey. And again, we'll continue this unscripted series. Leave a comment if there's a specific topic you want me to cover, because I would love to hear some, inspiration on where to go next. I love you guys. Make some sugar cookies, stay safe, and take care.